Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Earth is a nursery where the seed of the future stars and future universes and life of galaxies more or less comes to depend partially from the seeds from the, let's say, the tulips. The whole universe is not just one flower, just the tulips. There's some roses, some other flowers, the honeysuckles, and the rest we have on the earth. So there are other nurseries in the universe which create that seed of soul. Mitra is not the only citizens of the universe. Mitra is one of its, like when you live in a city, you don't fall in love with every woman on the street, you fall in love with one. And this is what Earth is, has been, and be. But the interesting point for us, which is intriguing if you have not understood, is going to hit you very hard if you understand. And then you have to understand what's the next. As we said, Earth is the nursery. It could be seed of a star, it could be seed of a galaxy, the soul of the man who lives this planet, or it could be a dust in the way we see cosmic dust in the galaxies and in solar systems, floating around till finding somewhere to become that star, that planet, or become part of it. But now, as a humans, you have a dilemma. Because we have not reached a part of the souls which left this planet billions of years ago, from the first souls which left this planet, they became a seed, some of them in the universe, and those seeds gathered enough energies as a speck of energy, beginning the seed of a, let's say, a star. Now they have created planetary system in them, which in essence comes from the soul of the man, or created things from this planet billions of years ago. Now the technology of the man has reached to be able to travel with the speed of soul, not the speed of light. And one of you, a bunch of you, travel the span of the universe and land on one of the planets which was created from the soul of the man from this planet itself millions of years ago. There are a number of things that will come to be understood and will be part of the space research in years to come, is to diagnose from the field of strength, from the behavior, from the psychosomatic of the solar system or a galaxy or a universe, if the seed was that from tulips or from Earth. And would the future mankind, now that has access to travel with the speed of the soul, will come to recognize when it lands on such a system? Would the system, as it was created out of the planetary structure of Earth, would have hydrogen as its base? Would it carry water, because through the water it absorbed most of the energies of the universe with it? 90%, 95% of the weight of the man is water. So it gives us a new dimension in the space technology. The way that we thought we are the only planet in the universe and the only solar system with planetary system, and now in the past decade or so, the scientists are telling us every day they are finding new stars with planetary system, and the numbers are increasing rapidly. Would our scientists come to the point that now we found this planetary system, now we found this solar system, and in these solar systems we find maybe possibly life like Earth, or creation of the water which leads to creation of life? Did this star, did this solar system, did this galaxy came from the soul of the created things on this planet millions of years ago? And in a way, as it was created out of, will create out of itself the same characteristics. Then it comes for our scientists to assess, when we come to a solar system, when we come to a structure which now our scientists tell us has water in it, has conditions of life in it, the question mark for man is to answer, did the seed of this star came from Earth? And would man be able to live a life near to life on Earth, on these systems? So can we find solar systems, structures which have similar life as Earth? Putting aside the psychological pattern aside, putting the coincidences that the energies can come together to create possibly life on, same as life on the Earth, is the soul of the solar system from Earth? Did one of us was so devoted, so servitude, does not matter if you're a dog or a cat or a man, that led to be and became the seed and replicated what was on Earth? When you buy tulips, you don't throw it away. When it finishes the cycle of life, you hold it, you look after it, and you plant it next season to give new flowers. So the life comes to this point. Now that the space technology is opening up, not with a rocket and what I call firework, but the knowledge and science of the creation, magnetic fields, plasmatic motion, gravitational field systems, and man is good in making tools to measure things and to be replicating it, Then it comes, would we find systems which have a life like Earth? And would we, in the future, with our knowledge, confirm and in a way, through the strength of the fields of the solar system of it, or whatever, the seed connection with Earth? In a way, then we see how the souls of this planet, this greenhouse, are fed and become that star, the galaxy, the solar system, or a speck of dust in galaxies. Those are the ones which in holy books they call them the hell. Nothing but just the dust. And is heaven that you become that seed that gives that flower of the galaxies and the universes a new life? Then you understand why the correction had to be done on this planet to stop the killing, because now we see some problems in the universe where the nursery did not clean up the infectious disease of killing. And we come to sort it out. To you, is 6,000 years from Moses and 2,000 years from Christ and the rest of it. But in fact, it's a few seconds, milliseconds, fraction of the milliseconds in the work of the universe. So what to you, thousands of years to get here, to us outside is just walk in the park. Even though to you is very important. It's like looking at the ant colony and seeing there's something the ants cannot cross, or because of it they do funny things, and you correct it and the ants go on the straight path. So in a way, to you, it's just passing a few milliseconds life of an ant, but the ants is his life, and it could be that day of his life, the only day which lives. So now you understand how important it is to get things sorted in this greenhouse. Because this greenhouse, if it's wrong, now that the seeds of the creation of the other planetary star systems from the seeds which came from here are growing, we have to see to get rid of this infection. Otherwise, we'll have more problem in the future when those seeds, stars and planetary start creating life, and then the mayhem as we see, we come to clean up. But if you understood this, now it means we can go to the soul planet from the Earth. Then we find a lot of common denominators in living. We find a lot of common denominators in the soul of what we call the knowledge within planetary. We feel at home because it came from home.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 513th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 23rd, 2023. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Kremen, and I will be host once again in this ongoing weekly series of workshops. And once again, we have the pleasure of being with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop. So, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to go for yet another installment of the Knowledge Seekers Workshop here?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual. Wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation and Spaceship Institute. As usual, we welcome you back. And as usual, we strive to share knowledge. As I said in the past recent teaching, we are heading in a new direction in the knowledge of man, and we are heading in a new direction with the life of the man, not only on this planet, but its cycle in what I call rotation of life in the universe. In the past few weeks, and in the past, especially recent weeks, we tried to explain, we tried to bring to understand the new cycle of teaching, cycle of knowledge, the new understanding. And with this, unfortunately, for those of you who are mechanical, mathematical, scientific minded, we have no gadgets to show you. We have, but unfortunately, the gadget, the system, the technology is you. And this is the dilemma for many, many knowledge seekers. Trusting that this system, this measuring tool, this so sophisticated, simple system of the human body now has come to be tested. It's been developed over billions of years. Ethos and principles have been taught to it in the physical dimension. And now it's come to after production line, and it needs to be tested. And even though there's been many billions of prototypes before, now it's me. I have to find out who I am. What are my capabilities? And as I always said, now maybe most of you understand, I'm the last man standing. It's me who measures me. It's me who decides my capability. It's me who decides if this system, so complicated and simple, is going to function. And it's like the new cars on the street you see. It's a car, but no driver. Would I be able to drive through streets without bumping into everyone? I'll be able to stop and go and maneuver and do everything else, drive during the good time of daylight and drive in the sunshine and the rain at the same time and the same way. And this is the history of man from now on. You have denied this to yourself, but it's been there all the time. The only way we put this system into testing and seeing how it works and bringing values to you to understand which part of the system you have to adjust, which brakes you have to loosen a little bit, and what part of the engine you have to increase the power of as a part of the emotion of the man in your physicality. So we have brought you into a testing zone where we let you test yourself and then find the capabilities, the shortfalls, the beauties, and everything else in you. The past 1.5 years, all these trials with the system, those of you who came on different sessions and you thought what is beneficial to me, I go in, was to create that condition for a number of those whose soul has decided to go to that dimension and direction. and to find out more. What we do today in the teachings on the special sessions on Fridays, it'll become a benchmark for the rest of the humanity to follow, to guide us, for us to know us, for us to understand what are the pitfalls, for us to understand what's the strength of me in both in the dimension of physicality and the dimension of energy. My physical life is connected to this planet. My energy life, which I call the soul of me, is connected to the universe. I'm not the only car on the road, and this city, this village of Earth, is not the only village in the universe. So now you understand. Up to now, you drove, you walked, you lived among the physical life of the village of Earth. With this understanding of the soul of the man, you travel the span of the universe. In a way, from a little village girl, you become the lady of a city. How you're going to behave, how elegantly you're going to walk, and how rough edges need to be cleaned up, to be tested, to be corrected, that you shine. You stand like a ballerina on the universal stage of the creation. Perfection. Dance, every motion, and everything calculated from the tip of the finger to the tip of the toe. One mistake will bring it down on the floor. Perfection is the essence of understanding. Consciousness, understanding what emotion in the dancing in the universe will bring, that will not allow man as a ballerina to fall. There is no one else except the physical body of the man and the soul of the man. In the matter state of the life, you walk, you eat, you talk. In the dimension energy of the man, you connect to the rest of the universe. Physicality is for this planet. The dimension of the energy soul of the man is for the universe. And man needs to learn this. And all the teachings, all the promise books of the past is for today. When the man finds himself, the day of judgment, the day when you judge yourself and no one else. Unfortunately, the Creator does not have a bench sitting there like Ayatollahs and passing a sentence of death, or life imprisonment, or so many lashes. This is the job of fake believers. This is the job of those who claim to be the protectors. Now you are in the same position. Are you a fake believer and a false protector of that physicality and nothing else? I brought you gases, I brought you reactors, I brought you nano coating for your physical life. Now we teach you the essence of creation, the transformation, transmutation of the fields energy of the creation. And that is the beginning. The hell is the life of the man on this planet. The heaven is understanding his life in the universe. And the day of judgment is on you and no one else. It does not come by death. It comes by the point of maturity. I use gases to show you the energies. Now I use your body, your physicality, to show the beauty of what's inside you as energies of the creation. In the way the Creator has already made a gas mixture called the body of the man. Now I show his energy, a central control. And that is why what we teach sounds so strange, so amazing, and so different, because it's the truth about you, yourself, and no one else. So I use the reactors and gases and nano coating to teach you about dimension of physicality and connection to energy. And now that collection of mixing the gas of the copper, the zinc, the CO2, the calcium, and the zinc is already mixed up, is already ready, is already has a central control called the human body and the physicality of the man and the soul of the man. Now we play with a new toy. Now we play with a new understanding. Now we play with your life. You play with your life. We show you how you played, how you can play, and how you can take this beautiful dynamic energy to become a flying source, to become a feeding source, to become a source for your life, and why you deny it. Why do we get a cancer, and with all the knowledge we put on the table, the cancer cannot be resolved? Because the dimension of physicality cannot let go. Cancer is dimension of physicality. I bring it to an end when I want, and then I decide when. Does not matter what we throw at it. The soul of physicality wants to complete the pain of physicality. Now you understand how I have changed that dynamic reactor to the dynamic physical structure of the man. In essence, when you know how to walk, you know how to dance like a ballerina, and you know how to jump and how to run. And we have all the knowledge. And we're trying to transfer this knowledge to you. Your physical body, your soul, is that reactor. Your soul is the second reactor. Your physicality is the sun of the light of your existence, and your soul is the light and the sun in the world of creation. As the sun created the moon and earth to confirm it exists and what it can do, so is the same with your soul and soul of physicality and the physicality of the man. As I said in the last teaching, we start a new path, we start a new teaching. Now that you start learning how to play with this reactor, now that you learn how it's there, how it stops this and that, and how it creates emotion. You remember 129 Tesla magnetic field creation in the Sensano in 2014. With a simple system, we created more fields than nations spend billions of pounds to do. Simple men created the system, not the experts with PhDs and all the rubbish papers they put on themselves in different organizations around the world. And so it's the same. Simple men understand the creation of themselves and how they travel the span of universe. And from that point, how we started the cycle to understand the fields transfer, understanding how you mix two gases and it gave you pain relief, and you mix other things and gave you different field energies and colors and emotion. Now you have come to that point that you did not need it to make gases to understand this technology. You only needed to understand the interaction of the fields. If some of you were knowledgeable enough gathered enough what I call technologies of understanding, you didn't need to make cup 1 and cup 2. You created the energies of it within you. Is this why some people never got it, never got infected? Because the knowledge of existence through viruses has been and is part of the solar structure. Very interesting point, which I raised in the private talks. Now I put you in the public talks. Many of you caught corona. Even some of those of you who came to the conference in London reported back that you were affected by corona. Ask yourself one simple question. Those physicalities which were touched by corona, are they getting ready to become, have learned, the passengers of the universe? Because the soul has got a taste of chickenpox, flu, now corona, and is getting educated, ready, vaccinated for the travel in the dimension of the universe. Doesn't mean that the soul of the man is getting ready to become part of the universal community. And in some way, is getting vaccinated, is getting introduced to the dimension of the fields of the universe as viruses. The other question comes, and this is might shock a lot of you, is some of, very few of, percentage of you who did not get corona and other viruses never touch you, are already passengers of universe, guest with us on this planet. As you have already been educated, vaccinated, and in the dimension of the soul, being the passenger of the universe. To this, I will answer in the future. To this will bring the dimension of recognition. As I said last week, a new cycle of teaching has started. And this cycle is for the soul of the man. This cycle of teaching is to take man to show him how to drive, how to stop, how to enjoy the sun of the Creator and get warmed by his rays. And from now on, the teaching mainly will target for man to be ready to travel in the dimension of the soul of the man. Book 3. The final destination in the temporary road of the travel of the soul of the man. But you got to remember that within your RNA sits the whole history of the creation of the universe. What is connected to the dimension of physicality manifests itself in the DNA of the man. Universe has its own RNA, and universe creates its own DNA for manifestation of physicality. And you only see part of it which has initial strength of the physicality of this planet. If you understood the past 3 sentences, you understood the essence of the creation of the Creator. Now you understand what we teach and why we are here to teach. Because now we change those reactors, dynamic reactors, nano coating, the ganses, in fact, to you and yourself, and nothing else. The ganses are the body of the man, and the dimension of the rotation and the speed of the rotation is the soul of the man within it. In one of the tests in the recent past, I explained to one of our knowledge seekers, you want to see the truth, you want to see the fields, do not pile in the ganses, because it brings the dimension of absorption and physicality. This is why when you as knowledge seekers use the Gans water, you get a better results than the ganses. And one drop carries the whole of the essence, not the whole cup. You want to travel the dimension of the universe, understand the creation of the amino acid of the universe. You want to live and correct in the dimension of the man's physical dimension, stick to the amino acid of your ganses. You want to live in the dimension of the matter state, wash the amino acid, find the amino acid of the solid. The heartbeat of it, the essence of creation of it. Then you can become the stone. Then you can become a tree, then you can live the life of the man, and then you can live as the energy fields in the universe. What line of connection to the dimension of inertia of the existence can you find and understand and create within your souls to become that point of creation? Then a man can be a stone, a tree, a man, and a passenger of the universe within the same vessel. When you're burned, you become nothing but ashes. The dust that if you bring the soul of it together, you'll make a stone. Some races clay the ashes to statues. Some path of belief use the same ash to make an ornament of the physicality. Now, you can do the same if you understand that, and without being burned and become ashes, create the dimension of the physicality and become a stone. Have your soul in it. And when time comes, change into a man, a tree, or anything else. Now you understand the teaching of Baha'u'llah, bless his name, that even a stone has a soul. As man can make an understanding of the operation of his existence in the day of judgment of his life, to create a stone out of himself, to become the observer of the environment, to become there for time to come, when he decides to become the next. Now, as I repeated 2 or 3 times today, you understand, you have become, you are, and you're testing yourself to show the rest of us the same as the reactors in the Sansara. Can collection of your field create the fields more than 129 Tesla and billions of Teslas and become passenger of the universe? And no one else can do this except you. And now we are the teachers. We're just providing that lab for you to test yourself. One of these tests will come in tomorrow. Those of you who joined for the session of the light, do not look for the light, look for the enlightenment. If you look for the light, you're still in the matter of conformation of physicality. If you get enlightened, understand a little bit more, you understand and you start the path to become the part of the creation of the universe. Just as I said, there are no churches and no mosque and no synagogue for any of you to join in. You are your own mosque, your own Christ, your own Moses, your own Muhammad. You live by the ethos of a mitra, and you exist in the universe by that ethos. Once you break the ethos of mitra, you have brought your own demise. You need to learn to love. You need to learn to become the lover. You need to learn how to give. And that in the dimension of the soul. For that reason, Thursday 21st of December is a celebration of the birth of Mitra. We celebrate her life. And we teach you how to love. On the night of her birthday, on the 22nd of December, we teach you how to love. We teach you how to become Mitra. Without that, we cannot let you to go into space. Without that, we cannot let you become passenger of the universe. Because once, as I said in the teaching of last week, that love touches you, you never break the ethos of Mitra. As we started process of transmutation, we need to teach the principle of loving, giving, and not to take. And that process starts from this session, and we emphasize and we teach you till you feel the love, the giving, understanding, and correct conduct. Tomorrow's session will teach you how to transfer the fields, how to be enlightened. On 22nd, you learn how to give, how to become a lover, and how to start the process of giving without expectation to receive. Even though you receive, that you become the giver. In a way, we fill in the cup of the soul that by its overflowing, you learn the giving, because once overflown, it's not yours anymore, you have given. And we start that process. As I said, we celebrate for man understanding of the life in the universe. We celebrate for man to live a correct life in the universe. As the intro said, we clean up the false emotions which created in the RNA by the operation of the DNA. Not depending on anything, as you know, you receive what you need. Thou shalt not kill was no way brought up to be for the dimension of the man's understanding of his dimension of physicality. It was brought in for dimension of universe. Once you understand in the universe, you receive what you like, what you need, and you shall not kill for it. You bring that ethos to the dimension of physicality. So you have to touch the love of the creation, the love of living in the universe, to correct the physicality. One way or another. will bring that to this planet. Be of the teachers to show how to conduct outside. As I've said many times, we are universal teachers because we teach you the life in the universe, the educated way to live in the universe. And now you understand why we are called universal teachers. We are not prophets. We are above all directly connected to the soul of the Creator as He teaches through the dimension of physicality of a man. Now you understand what the first words we always said. As now you are getting prepared for yourself, to the day of judgment of yourself, to become the passengers of universe, you need us as universal teachers to guide you, to teach you. And now you understand the meaning of universal teachers. Never claim to become, never claim to be a prophet, because he has no prophet for us. We have access to all. And now it's for you, as us, as a teacher, sitting next to you in that car with the learner driver behind you, how to conduct. And the first 3 rules. You sit in the car, you fasten your seatbelt, you watch the mirror, you turn the engine on, and you watch what's going around you. The ethos of Mitra. To be correct within you, within your environment. Think good, talk good, and do good, or act good. And now you understand who we are, and what we are, and what we are to deliver. Even though we live in the dimension of physicality of the man. It's for you to decide how you drive this car, which is the soul of the man in the dimension of the universe. Even though in the past we have manifested in the dimension of physicality in any name you believed, it's still the same soul. And a teacher has to know where to start to teach, and how to attract his students. You got to understand that now it's you in that lab as one of the reactors trying to create the 129. Then you understand, you will not know if your thinking is good, if the emotion that brought that thinking is good, that brings a good talk and it brings a good walk, unless there is another soul for you to manifest yourself to, and understand how much you have learned from the dimension of physicality and its emotion. Then you understand. We test the soul of the man with itself existing with the dimension of the universe. From now on, the teaching is how man, for man, to live in the dimension of universal community, where the soul next to you, the man you held, the woman you held in the dimension of physicality, would that soul be your soul that you will test it with first? And then with that child you hold, which you gave a physical birth to, can you connect to that soul? because now nothing is hidden. You hit the chocolate, you stop. You cannot hide from the soul, from the man who you stole the chocolate from. Now you understand. Now you come to understand. Now you come to be part of. Now you understand the two dimension of life of physicality, how it can help the dimension of the soul. Now you understand why we brought you to Manchester and we brought you to London and we brought you to the teachings. Is all continuous development for you to recognize the beauty of yourself. How to run that engine. How to work that engine. How to run that reactor and understand what rotates outside in dimension of physicality as the soul within it. But this time, instead of rotating, has learned to walk and talk. And the other time has learned to stick to the ground and go up. And the other time decides to be the rock that tree can lean against to grow. In either way, the cycle of teaching is complete. In a way, we just got to teach you where is the red light, where is the crossing, where is it downhill and it drops you into ocean, and where is the uphill struggle to get to the mountain. And these are no different than the dimension of physicality. Universal life is comfortable if you understand how to live in it. And it's not that you just walk in the park. You have to learn the rules of the park. Do not litter. Do not urinate against the lamppost. And do not bring your dog, the dimension of physicality, to fall all over the place. Tame it, train it, that when it manifests itself in a dimension of physicality, in another dimension of position, it does not bring the bad habits of untamed dog. It shall not kill, it shall not destroy, it shall not create wars, and it shall not be the behavior of the man of today on that. Now let's see how many of you understood that you came here to see magravs and reactors, and you never realized the target was you from the beginning of the time. You are that magrav, you are that reactor, and everything within you is said to do. If you have not understood something, I give you a clue. How the magrav is created out of you. Look at through the channels, the twists and turns and the pipelines in the cycle of your physicality, if you understand it. Look at your eggs and your testicles and all the holes and crevices and the pipes and the way they're shaped. Look at the structure of your stomach, your intestine, and look at the structure of the pipes in your brain. You are the magnet and all the coils in it. Now you understand how the game is played. and how the fields within that decides if you receive a saving or energy, or you can have a free run. Those of you who looks for matter state, physical dimension, energy, plug yourself into the wall. And those who understood about the work of the energy transfer in the dimension of the soul of the man, sit on top of the maghreb, as I said many times, and feel its energy. Either way, you are the system. Either way, it's the soul of the system which counts. If you stay in the dimension of physicality of the man, you still that blue maghreb on the table. And if you understand the energy transfers and existence, you're connecting to feed the whole of the universe and environment from that. Now you understand. The game has been played in a full cycle. And now it's for you to understand how to play with this dynamic, physical, beautiful life. It does not need another dimension. It has another dimension, the dimension of the soul of physicality, to test itself. And then how to radiate. And then how to become part of the totality. As I said, we are universal teachers. We can teach in the same classroom as in the village, as I said last week. A toddler in the same room, as this class has only one room. And to the boy who sits to go to university, and even we can bring the education of university and the PhD in the same room. It's just that if there is enough seat in that room, as the knowledge is the same and the teacher the same. Now you understand. You are that vessel. And your conduct, by the ethos of Mitra, decides your position, the place, the time. And if you understood and elevated your soul, understand the position of it, to become that passenger of the universe, you have two choices. You are ejected, and you have to accept the exile wherever you're put, or you decide to become the traveler and still meet and see the same jail, but as a man who can come out of it when he wants, because now you've done it through the free soul. In a way, as we say in a monopoly, understanding the essence of your creation is that jail-free card in your hand. You can meet where the jail, where the soul will be for the rest of its existence once it departs and decides to find a place. Or you can become jailed in that place and time. What happens when you die? And what happens when you understand in how you can elevate your soul, and that jail becomes the heaven. Another jail for the others to enjoy. In a way, by teaching of now, today, and time to come, we teach you how to have that jail-free card in your hand. If you decide to go to jail, and if you decide to avoid the jail, or you decide to be the visitor, and then because you know where the jail is, if it is a jail, you can do good, think good, and talk good, and raise the level that you get the freedom of the jail. Elevation of the soul of the man. By man himself and no one else. Because if you're going to steal to find it, you find a jail sentence longer and harsher. If you bribe to get yourself out, you'll be caught in another dimension. So you'll come to understand The teaching is for you to never get to the chair, but have the freedom of the choice. But for those of you who can fail, who think you can fail, we are giving you that jail-free card. Maybe, as you know the game, you only can use that card once. Once you hand it in, you have to wait for the next turn where that card turns up in the pack, and if it's going to be your luck to get it. So now you understand the purpose of the teaching. So now you understand the process of the teaching. And we changed the gas reactor to a dynamic reactor. We just changed the fuel from a gas to a gas. And now we change that to the body of the man and a mixture of gases. A more complicated mixture, but in essence the creation of one soul. Now I welcome all of you to come in the Sensano and sit in the position and see if collectively you can create the lowest field in the universe. That is common denominator allows you to see the beauty of the Creator. In the physical dimension, we showed you how bigger fields we can make so easy. In the dimension of the soul, we teach you how humble you become to become the lowest to reach the Creator. Now, that's another process, and in the coming time, you will learn. We go through a break, and we come back, and I hope you, as knowledge seekers, those of you who are not here to learn how to make a system, for the first time you found out you are the system. And the master teacher knows how to teach his students. And we are master at our job, as we come from the soul of the Creator. Rick, take us through a break and we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, we'll be back shortly and continue with the second half of the 513th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here.
The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A space technology that allows us to work with the fields of the universe, creating a wide range of plasma field interactions and conditions. It allows the body to process itself from any physical or emotional imbalance. Once this balanced condition is achieved, the soul and emotion of the body can follow to find their balance and elevate the whole of the man. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, technology of the future through advanced plasma knowledge. The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, here we are back at the 513th Knowledge Seekers Workshop in the second half. And that means that folks have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. And we have attendees here in our Zoom meeting. And if you raise your virtual hand, we can allow your microphone to open so you can ask a question. And folks in the live stream or YouTube chats can put their questions right into the chat, and we'll try to get to them. Okay, Mr. Keshe, how would you like to proceed today?
As usual. It was a very bad news today's teaching, huh? Because it was the 13th. Now you know you're responsible for everything. And number 513 was well put on. If there are any questions, we answer.
Okay. Let's start with Ping Peter in the YouTube, who says, you mentioned that men will teach the universal community transmutation, and in exchange, we can learn from them more advanced transportation systems. How far in the future do we think for this to happen?
The question is put the wrong way. How far in the past they brought us the knowledge? I think you got your answer. Any other question?
You mentioned before there's, I think, 2 times in the history of man where the systems have been offered, and this would be the 3rd time. Is
the teaching, is a knowledge transfer, is not something unique. If I can put it in a different way to be understood. If you go back to the paper, which I've mentioned many times, called The Station of the Scientist as a Prophet, The enlightenment of the scientists like Tesla comes through the soul of the creation, not from within the man. So if you ask when will, I tell you, you've been asleep. You already have. The enlightenment of the prophets or messengers in the name of Muhammad, Tesla, and whatever, who brought positive construction to man in the social life or the physical life, is the same. So as one got enlightened, so is the other. And it's for us to understand and appreciate this. And if you ask when we will come, I tell you, you've been asleep. Yes, so many has come in the past. It's in the history of the books, the holy books, that the time when the process of the coming of the Messiah starts, man will come closer to each other. In a way, those days was a camel, a donkey, and travel. And in 1844, when Bell or whatever made the first call to connect one continent to another, one room to another, was one step in that dimension. And if you understood the teaching of today, this is the other step towards the connection of the whole universe. And not just a man from one call down the pipe to the other one, hello. Now, we showed you, in a way, we have said hello to your soul and see where the other answer comes from, because it's only you who knows who's the other end, which is you. So when you talk when we come to, you already have received that gift of the knowledge from the past, from those who've been the passengers of the universe, and they become themselves passengers of the universe. As I said, you have a jail-free card, maybe once. Try to elevate your soul, try to understand, try to be enlightened, that you have never need, and you can jump that jail corner of them, of life. Because once you get in it, once the number is called, you miss the start point. You have to go to jail. But if you manage to go through and jump over the jail, as I'm sure many of you play the Monopoly game, you can pass the start point again and again. And in a simple word, you go back to the start point, the creator. When I used to play Monopoly, in the middle of the night and during the day and in the sunshine and in the shadow and in the rain, with my brother, I always used to say, when would man understand this? Once you get in it, you can't get out of it, but you can always go back to source as long as you're out of it, and elevate yourself to be able to understand more. Those of you who died that missed our physicality, You carry no free jail card. You're sentenced by your behavior, your conduct, and your life. And our position is decided. In a way, you can still pay a visit and say, I do not like to end up here, and to be what it is to become, and I can elevate myself. I can become humble enough to go to the start and be given a chance to start again. The life of the man in the universe is very much a game, but it has no boards, and the board of play is the universe. It's how you play it, and how much you understand of it. Throw the dice of life the correct way. Any other
Okay. In YouTube 777, Polina says, "Good morning, Mr. Keshe. The Bushmen."
Can I come in, please, before something I had to say, I wanted to say. You know, Rick, and other knowledge seekers know. This is for your information, it's pure information. There is, Rick, do you want to explain it regarding the Facebook? Because we've been hitting one of those and thing in another corner. Would you like to explain if knowledge seekers receive such a thing not to do?
Right. There's basically it's like a virus going around in Facebook, but it seems to come from the admins of Facebook, and they say that your account is in jeopardy and you must click on this link in order to reset it and so on. But if you click on the link, then it'll take you to a page that wants your login information. And if you put it in, they'll take over your Facebook site, your page. So let's see if I can be more. Let me get that up so I can read part of it to let people know.
Can you show them how you recognize it?
Okay, let me get the.
I have it if you don't.
Picture up here. Let's see, there we go. Second. I don't think there's any information that we're giving away here, so I'll just show it. Let me see here. There we go. So this came up where it says, important notice, your page, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, will be temporarily suspended due to multiple violations of our community guidelines, which could be quite shocking, but not, that unusual if you know how things work. If you believe this is a mistake, please submit an appeal for review before the account is permanently suspended. Appeal here. It gives a link. And if you do not verify, our system will automatically lock your account and you will be unable to use it further. Thank you for helping us improve our services. Terms of Use Team 2023 Inc. That's kind of suspect in itself. But at the very top, the most suspect thing is, it's called, the title is Add Business. Or bizines. It's they spelt business wrong. They left off the S off at the end of business. So that right away kind of is a warning signal to me that something didn't seem right. And I've received a similar warning to this previously months ago as well. And I looked into it and I could see it was some sort of scam page. So I didn't put the info in. And I also found out that where it was coming from was a, what do you call it? A messenger account, not a Facebook account. So when this messenger sends, Facebook does not send notices through Messenger. They do it through email or through direct through Facebook. So again, it was kind of suspect there as well. In any case, be careful with such things and try to look into it before you put in any sensitive information that could allow someone, like a password, for example.
Apparently they take over your account and they make you admin till when they come back, what they ask you to pay or whatever, or they tell you they have a picture of you or whatever. Just ignore it. Anyway, thanks very much.
Those were the two keywords you told me many years ago, Mr. Keshe, in terms of trolls, which is essentially that's what this is. And when I was getting all wrapped up in trying to defend the Keshe Foundation from trolls and trying to rationalize with them and back and forth and back and forth. And you told me two words that solved everything, which was ignore them. It was the hardest thing to do because you get something like this, for example, it's hard to ignore. But in this case, it's the best thing to do is laugh it off. Now, of course, if it really comes from Facebook, you might have to take some sort of action, but that's not as
we get matured.
Prevalent. Yeah.
We get educated. Thank you very much. I think if you go on the store of the Keshe Foundation, the session of the 21st, 22nd of December is already, I think, is published. I want to accept very few limited people for this session because it'll be a very long session, maybe 4 or 5 hour session, because I want you to feel an emotion. I want you to feel exactly how it feels to be a lover, the true lover, not in physical dimension. And we shower you with love, that you feel it inside you. And it'll be an amazing time, because then the Christmas holidays and the rest will have a different meaning if you understand it. In the process of London conference, and the achievement from it is so glorious that in the coming time we will let you know. It was not, and then what they call quantity, was the quality which attended, and that quality has brought a movement in nations. And in the coming time, we'll let you know how London conference brought such a huge change. It's gathering momentum in a very unusual way. And that's, as I said, is the will of the soul of those who were present and really wanted peace in exchange for technology. The participants in that conference themselves have brought an emotion which has shaken the British Empire. And we'll let you know very soon. And as I said, when we finish, there'll be no kings. And it looks like that even the oldest lasting kingship will see a new dimension to his life. It'll be very interesting, but in the next few months, you'll understand, maybe your soul not being aware of why the conference had to be in London, and how and it's turning out to be one of the most interesting ambassadorial meeting we ever held. Because when we do it, is outside. When they do it, it's from inside. And that's how it crumbles from inside. It'll be very interesting. And soon we will tell you more about it when it takes shape by those who are developing it to a very strange, very, very beautiful structure of peace and exchange for technology. As you were there to support us, to bring it about, it's our responsibility to tell you what you have achieved. We're just the tools. Are there any other questions?
Okay. Marlene in the YouTube says, "Hoof morning, Mr. Keshe. Do we have a DNA defect, or was it edited from past universal travelers from another planet or dimension, like the Pleiades or some other star system? Is that why we find it difficult to change?"
The defect comes from the structure of this planet. You know, when your parents give you one type of food, and because they don't like the other part themselves, and then you create deficiencies because you were not fed the right food, because they were not eating the right food. And then you go to doctors and say, doctor says, oh, there is a deficiency. But the doctor says, okay, take this vitamin and take that. But it doesn't ask the family, what's your diet that has created this deficiency? A lot of children brought up in the neo fashionable vegetarian vegan, we see other conditions in their children. And the doctors are trying forever to sort these new conditions, these shortages, these deficiencies. But what they don't stop to ask the family is, can I ask you how you live? What do you eat? What do you provide? And then the doctor gives these supplements. But the cause is the mother or the father, and the way they live, and they're trying to bring a body of a meat eater to a vegetarian, which was in his DNA. And now it shows these defects. It's the same with us on this planet. The mother has deficiencies, does not give enough, and we create diseases because of that deficiency. Because of that deficiency, the tablet of killing has been fed to us. And with it, to kill, to live, to survive, has come the bribery, the thieving, the stealing, everything else. They have not shown us how to love and how to be a lover. So when we get married, we don't understand it and become adulterous, because the structure of loving, what true love is, has not ever been taught. So when you say it comes from DNA of the others, they came perfect. What was created was perfect. But the motherland, this planet Earth, has deficiency in its operation. And then it's no use taking it to a doctor, unless you remedy the whole from the beginning. The soul of physicality, and physicality in one go. As I said once, we are the physicians of the universe. Don't need to wear the clothes of the man as a doctor. We understand the principle. And so the deficiency comes from the way this planet has structured itself. that few degrees angle of inclination has created a beautiful life cycle. But it has not answered to feed the deficiency, and it has to come within. It cannot come by facing. Otherwise, for example, those who face the sun will receive everything, and then you have to wait till you get to the other side. We call it 24 hours. What happened? This rotation is 1 million years, or 300,000 years, or 500 years, if you're on the further out planets and you have a life cycle. Even you have the inclination. So, it has to come from the center. And this planet lacks that combination of hydrogen and other mixtures to create, to feed, as is the inertia. And this is where the problem is. You buy the most beautiful flower, and it's so beautiful when it's in the shop. When you bring it home, within days it dies. If you'd have left it in the shop, it would have been there for months. So the environment, the house is contaminated. It's you who have not created the right environment for that flower to exist. It's not the fault of the flower. So is the soul of this planet. In its structure, is lacking energy to feed the citizens the correct way. So the citizens have to find a way to survive once they learn the DNA combination by stealing, by killing. But the soul does not kill. So now we teach the soul to absorb the energies of the universe to feed the physicality that physically does not need, to compensate for the lack of what the planet is missing. Well, now you understand. This beautiful flower has been left in the wrong hand of the feeding. Even though the greenhouse is beautiful, it has a problem. The gardener does not feed his plants the right mixture. Any other question?
Yes, we have a hand up here with Heidi. Heidi, would you like to go ahead? Maybe you could say where you're from as well. Heidi, you should be able to open your microphone there. I'll ask you to unmute as well.
I think it could be a mistake.
Could be an inadvertent hand, yes.
Yep.
Okay, well, let us know if you can figure out your microphone if you do wish to speak, Heidi.
Or it's hiding in a way.
Heidi is hiding.
It is hiding.
That's what Heidi does. Okay. No, the hand went down, so I think that's correct. Okay, go on to the Q&A. We have two questions in the Q&A. First question from my glasses on that one. Lertina from the Brazilian community. That could be a wildly wrong pronunciation. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. The temperature on the planet is rising. How can we soften the heat with GANs, and which ones should we use?
I thought the heat of the planet temperature is rising because of our politicians. They're making it too hot to exist.
Too much hot air.
Too much hot air, yeah. Too much barking. Or as I said to knowledge seekers some time ago, I think we have to put our politicians in a way on the fields with the cows. They create the same kind of gases. It's just creating the wrong environment, too many of them on this planet. Global warming in a different direction.
They say that there's too much CO2 on the planet, and that's what we breathe out. So the best solution is obviously if the politicians just hold their breath.
in it, I don't know if I wrote it out before. In a very recent developments and testing in Keshe Foundation, we have shown that we can convert the CO2 directly into amino acid, which was a theory. And now it can be shown. And we have produced this amino acid. And it is under investigation by the world leading scientist, because it was done in his lab. We created amino acid, which means or will create a lot of changes in a lot of industries. This means that mankind can stop killing. This means a lot of other new dimensions in science. It brings in a new cycle of knowledge, and it brings in huge changes, which, if I can call it in another word, the changes it will bring, it will be so astonishing that we can control a lot of things with this new knowledge. And we can, in a way, bring in the process of creation, understanding of it on this planet much, much closer. What this means is that we can dictate where we want this, what we call feeding system to come into operation, and how we control it, and how we, what I call, will bring in about new methods of creation, a new method of feeding, a new method of changing the dimension of the feed on this planet, and maybe change of the atmosphere. What has been achieved in the past, recent past, is something we done before, but now we had to confirm it independently for what we call scientists. And when it was done, it was extremely exhilarating that we could show the global warming can be used to become feeding demand, irrespective of time, place, and position. And it's very easy to stop this global warming and change it into feeding. I show you a couple of pictures that you can understand. You see, I put a red line on it. You see the shining ring. And it goes all the way around the disk we put in. This is where you see conversion of CO2 into amino acid. This is one of the most advanced labs on this planet. We are in one of the most advanced technology centers in the world. This is done under control of the scientist. And when it was created, you see the hand of the finger of the scientist. He could not believe it, that how amino acid could be created out of CO2. He had to test the fatness. So for us, we knew this. We knew this in tests from 6-7 years ago. We knew this from 10 years ago. You saw this in the production of the ganses on your GANS boxes. Now we have managed to produce amino acid in absolute purity, anywhere in this, on this planet. These little pictures you see will bring huge changes in the future. What does this mean? Go back to reports of what we gave years ago from trials of seeds in Inner Mongolia, where independent tests done and the opposition by the Beijing Agriculture University led independent testing of the seeds, that average protein in the wheat in China is about 11-12%. And we created a 20%, which was the highest ever done in open. When the American Australians did a test, created a 20% on a very specific condition in laboratory. Now we could do it in open, which meant the plant was happy. The plant received what it needs. It doesn't have to kill or destroy to get that 8% to become full. With this, it brings huge changes. In a way, this is what I said to you years ago, and now is in some plan of the development of the what we call space cities. We have no restaurants. We have no hospitals, except for what do you call it, emergencies, accidents and emergencies. Even those, when they come in, they go through the new process. Because of this, because we'll feed the man that shortage of protein in the air he breathes, in the environment he walks. What is surplus? What he has already created as CO2. The creation of the CO2 scientifically on this planet led to creation and increase of the oxygen and nitrogen principally, that it led to life. To creation of amino acid. Now we can do it in open. You can see the ring is so clear. And inside, in the center, there is a system which has created this ring. Then you understand how easy it will be, but in a way, what is needed to be converted will be converted in the environment. That when this amino acid rains, It rains on the plant, on the dog, on the man, on the beast, on the oceans that the fishes eat, and none shall kill. The global warming is a blessing for men to walk away from killing if he understands how to use the technology. Years ago, when we were in Ghana, the guy who now we know where he's gone to, Benjamin walked into all the time and he had a big belly. I said, what happened? He says, Mr. Keshe, I just take one stick of amino acids from the gas box every day, and this is what's done to me. I'm just getting fat on the belly. We said, good. But if we create structures over the cities, structures within the homes, structures within the fields that delivers, converts the proportion of amino acids for its citizens, and in absorbing this energy, they do not need to feel hungry. Would a man kill? Would a man lie? Would a man steal? Would a man do everything else? Now the knowledge is in the hand. Knowledge is part of the possession of the Keshe Foundation knowledge. So the CO2 and what was missing from inside this planet in using the same planet structure becomes to subsidize, to give back to the planet. If I put a dog on one side of the string, a man on the other side of it, a fish on the other side of it, a bird on the other side of it, a plant on the other side of it, they all will live, receive what they need, what the shortage is in their body, and none of them will kill another one because it's not hungry. And this is where we hit it. This is where the Keshe Foundation now is working on and working within and will develop into the next stage. This little ring you see, it'll change humanity beyond. Because as we have shown you, as we've proven it, now we deliver it on the lampposts of the street. We deliver it inside your home, instead of the light on the ceiling, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your sitting room, in the corridors of the power, where the politicians not only are hungry in the stomach, they will not be hungry for power. And this is that stepping stones for a changing man. And this is where the change will come. One of the most geniuses of the nation cannot make his mind what has hit him. And it's still in dilemma. How did this happen? They cannot stop the process of the science. But in time they'll come to say we understood, we saw it first. But now this is how this is part of the test for development of the new cities, space cities. This is how in space will feed you. Is your emotion, and will change it to beef, you'll change it to steak, you change it to bacon, and it becomes a Sunday breakfast bacon and egg for you. Your emotion will convert this to pleasures of life and physical absorption of what you want it to be. It's very interesting what is problem in a global warming now become a feeding system. Now we understand the knowledge. And not only understanding, we develop technologies to do it. The reason you see this as a ring, because inside it has been covered. And the cover has been taken up to see the ring, to show the ring. And this goes back all the way to the sinks and everything you see, but in a lesser dimension. If you would have put another unit on the sink, all this would have been full of fat. Where from this ring to the system is full of fat. Pure amino acids. All I need is to change it slightly, then it become water, satisfy your thirst, and some of you got flooded in the system. And then if I change it a little bit, it becomes something else. And then you understand how we will control the whole emotion, the food and existence of man in a space, in a dimension of physicality. I hope you understand what this means, and I hope in the future the world of science will come to develop this in a much bigger way. As we are setting up to build the first space cities, we are testing everything that it is like in the space. And this is what I said. When you build a space city, it has to be totally exactly how you travel in a space, not just by name. Any other question?
Okay, from Danila in the YouTube. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. What exactly do you mean when you say when the Messiah comes? Do you mean it as it's written in the old books, or is this about a new revelation?
Yes, it's about the new revelation that you are the Messiah of yourself, if you haven't understood it up to now. The revelation is that you always blame the others. He stole the tablets, he didn't do this, the other one did this. Now, yes, the revelation is for you to understand that it's you who's the Messiah of yourself. So, they couldn't tell you because they couldn't rob you as much as they liked. We tell you the truth because we don't need to rob. We ask. We don't stash away. As I said in the London teaching, many knowledge seekers offered us lands and properties, schools, and God knows what, and we refused over the years. What's the use of having land? To build more temples, to create more fallacies? We build our home in your heart and your soul, and we have conquered the universe with it. Don't need the land. But as is a habit of the man, you have opened the banks and you have to pay for services which are free for the rest of the universe. So we play your game, we need it, we come to you. And we are selling to get it the correct way. When we are short, we ask. When we lose together. When we gain, we gain. So, don't think they forgot to tell you, because you are the one, you are the Messiah of yourself. So, who has fooled who, and who wanted to be fooled? So, the new revelation is in your pocket, and you're wearing the jacket. The magician hid it in your pocket, and you then put your hand in your pocket to see what was hidden. Don't blame the magician, he was good to fool you enough. In the name of all the religions and all the tricks in the world. With us it's as straight as you put your hand in your pocket and see what's in it. It's empty, because the actual thing sits inside you. You don't need to feel it with your hand, you have to feel it within your emotion within you, and you have done it. That's why, as I said, no Keshe Foundation temples and no Keshe Foundation's holy books and the rest. Because the truth is you, and you sit within it. The rest, we just show you where it is. And even that, we don't ask you to give some of it to us, because we have enough. As we need, we receive from the soul of Creator. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have two questions that are similar or the same here. One in live stream from Freed, and one in YouTube from 777 Paulina. Freed asks, the new feeding system by way of amino acids, is there a possibility to feed, for instance, the Palestine nation in Gaza in one go? And 777 Paulina asks in the YouTube, Mr. Keshe, is it possible to feed the starving people in Gaza now with the amino acid? Antonio.
We can feed everyone with this new technology. You go back on Gaza, yes, we all feel the pain, we know, but you have to understand this is the beginning of a very big end. I try to avoid this, but in a way it's not, you cannot avoid it. And this is going to cause a lot of problem for Keshe Foundation, what I'm just about to put out, and you will understand it. But we are used to it. But maybe always brought good things to us. For the first time in the history of the Islamic Republic of Iran history, in past 40-odd years, Iran has accepted the two-state policy of the United Nations forced by Israel. In the last emergency of United Nations meeting, which became ratified, for the first time Iranian government has signed into the two-government policy. This would have not been done if the religious leaders between Vatican, Iran, and Israel have not achieved or reached understanding in the background. We understand this to be, as if you remember about 3-4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, when this all started on a Sunday, and on Wednesday I directly requested and put our thoughts to the Iranian leadership not to get involved, withdraw for what you planned. When the reasons was given to them, and then on Thursday I explained again openly, Iran would change policy and withheld from moving on with what was planned, that would have brought demise of Iran. And the wisdom of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran with advice was given followed the path. And overnight, Iran changed position. And that change of position has brought a new dimension in political world in what we call Middle East. But this is again temporary, because Israel and the Vatican will use this to turn back on Iran once they finish with the Palestine. And this is what the warning sits on the Iranian leadership. The agreement between Tehran, Palestine, what we call Tel Aviv, and Vatican, is a temporary arrangement. We know this to be, as we see Americans have moved and are moving massive forces in directions to counterpart the new, what I call quadrant system of the China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. They'll use one against the other. In the recent conference in Tehran, which was set up by the four, it was to show that attacking Iran will bring South Korea into game. The intensity on Ukraine will increase, and then the Americans will be engaged on 5 fronts. They cannot respond. Japan will be taken off our operation directly by South Korea, but North Korea. The game has heated up much, much bigger than Palestine. The 5-day peace will lead to another bunch, but you have to understand the Iranians found out, and on request to pull back at the right time, left the Hamas to play on its own, where it was totally different plan. Saving Iran, saving the history of 2,500 years of what we call nation, was understood by Ayatollah Khamenei, and Iran withdrew overnight. The flags of Palestine came down from Iran everywhere on Thursday when Wednesday the advice was given. And just go, as I said, into United Nations. Iran, for the first time, has signed in two-state policy, which has been against the principal policy of Iran from day one. And this is why we see all the plays around and everything else. The Israelis wanted what they wanted, they got. American got what they wanted, the two-state. Jerusalem will become the capital of Israel, but joint policy capital, very much like it'll be in the long term like Brussels. And we'll find a temporary solution and maybe a permanent solution. But now, in the past used to be the communists and the imperialists in the West, now has become those who oppose military aggression against one nation, which is more or less America, forcing Europe with it into this dilemma. But America cannot fight in 4 fronts in a very heavy wars. Because you got to understand, South America is set to poise and create a bigger problem for the Americans. In that way, this 5-day peace and the rest of it will be a part of it. And I warn the Iranian government, do not get fooled with what agreed and seen by Ahmadinejad in Tel Aviv in past few weeks. Because it has to be understood internationally. All the negotiation with Israel is done by Iranian ex-president, Iranian structure, Ahmadinejad, because he's half Jewish, or he's fully Jewish. And he has the connections, and he's been always the intermediary between Iran and the Israelis, even during the war of what we call Iran-Iraq. And this is why a Jewish guy become a religious, what we call it, president of an Islamic nation, under the banner of being Muslim. And he is negotiating in the background with his connections and his bloodline with the Israelis, and they have brokered this what we call negotiations. We are watching it very closely, and this will bring long-term peace, what we're looking at, but temporarily might create a huge pressure on Americans. Politics of Gaza is not just weeding, it's just trying to stop the mayhem to expand, but what we call interfaith acceptance of the Israel, what we call Knesset, the Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, and Vatican has brought this temporary peace, and what we call Hamas is getting the hammering of it. And in a way, Iran had a long outstanding grief with Hamas, and this allowed it to happen. Once the situation settles, which is risen in past 3-4 weeks, after the position change of Iran, there is skirmishes because there are still some people loyal to what was accepted before and they want to enforce it. But Iran's central government, with Ayatollah Khamenei, are withholding everything back. They are showing power. Because if they don't show power, it'll other things. But in principle, we have seen Chinese winning all the cards. Americans literally devastated, are skirmishing again like Vietnam out of Ukraine in a different way. They are trying to show they're still in power with a few naval forces here and there. But in general, any attack on any of the 4 nations will unleash North Korea and South Korea and Japan. That's for sure. And this is why Americans are moving for this might stop. But soon this will be stopped. And my wish is to help. I see the suffering of Palestinians. But in so many ways, we can feed, we can do a lot of things, but the Israelis don't allow us to go in. And secondly, there is a lot of land to be claimed after this. You will see part of Gaza will become part of Israel. This is what is already agreed in agreements in the background. The expansionism into Gaza and trying to push the Palestinians to be accepted by the Egyptians to go into Sanya and the rest of it. This is why initially we offered to move the Palestinians into Iran temporarily till it's done, but they offered for the students to be moved to Iran, or people who are in university that carry on with their education. On the other hand, we'll see how they expand this and how the position will change. There is one thing for sure, there will not be a state of Israel or Palestine in the coming time. That's for sure. It'll go back to what it was, because the whole structure is set to go that way. The whole structure is set for the end of Judaism. By itself, not from outside. By diminishing numbers. And this will take the next few decades. It cannot be done, because you see, if you rocket them the way Hamas did, now you become terrorists. But if the Israelis are killing their own soldiers in the hand of Hamas, if the Israelis got killed, 1,000, some of them, by the American rockets which came from Ukraine to kill them, nobody talks about it because they've done it to themselves. But when the other side hits, even with the tools of themselves, then become a big problem. And this is not the first time we've seen this. If you go back, we saw what used to be known as the Iran-Contra, where the Iranians took weapons from the Israelis, and the CIA arranged that for the Iranians are paying the Israelis to show they're collaborating, They pay to the, what they call it, South American Contra for fighting the left regime in South America. And unfortunately, the dealer in the middle never got paid. And this is what we see again for the second time. The guns were bought by Yasser Arafat to go into Israel. The Israelis captured it. It wasn't their weapon, so they sold it back to the Iranian on the contra, what they call affair. And then now again, the Palestinians did the same. They bought the guns this time from the Americans, from Ukraine, and they came to use it, and they use it, and now they're getting it back. And the Israelis are killing their own selves. Every time they came to bomb it, the Palestinians knew where they're coming. They put the Americans there, and they got killed. So now they're trying to find a peacetime to get their people out before they start killing more, because this time they don't want to be ashamed that they're killing themselves while they're trying to free their nation. This embarrassment came with the killing of one of the high-ranking women officers of Israel in trying to bomb a place they bombed where the hostages were. There's a lot behind this, and we can feed them. You've seen it on the table. But this religion group have to come to an agreement. Israel will use the signing of Iran to two states after this war heavily, and will push for it. And they have set the scene for this. This was the wish of Vatican, because there is more conflict set for the future to be created, which we are aware of. But we have taken a step for it not to happen. But this is why Tony Blair is being talked to be the leader of what a British guy who's made 18 billion out of government has to do to become governor of Palestinians. So there is a lot of diplomacy with the British behind it. The Palestinians can be helped, can be fed. But at the moment we are sitting on the sideline and watching. Then it all depends how next step will be taken by the Iranian government, Ahmadinejad's negotiation team in Tel Aviv. We'll see. And it was a wisdom of an understanding in what was passed as a message to the Iranian leadership, and they took that advice directly the same night, and they changed position and saved Iran from destruction. And we go to the next step, and we see how the next step will be played. But before that God takes any shape in the next 3 or 5 years, China will take the policy, and we'll see the change of policy. It still comes through technology and exchange for peace. We try to help in Palestine, but as I've done for decades. But this time, the religious leaders have drawn the line, and we'll see what happens. Any other question?
Okay, from Gerhard in the Q&A. Hello, Mr. Keshe. If the body is a star formation, the following is unclear to me. Where is the fourth point? We have a soul of man, a soul of physicality, and physicality. Do we create the fourth point with our hands? Could you explain something about this?
How many rings do you have in the maghraf? Where is your fourth point? What you call the fourth point, you have to change it to the fields. It's not a point, it's a plasma, it's totality. It's you who has to understand which part of this, which direction, which strength of it you want to travel in. The fourth point is the motion of the fields, and your emotion decides it. In the future teachings, I'll explain more in detail how physical emotion can be connected to the soul emotion. And with it, will bring changes and creation of what we call new dimensions. You just got to bear for the other students to catch up. Most of them are still in the state of tomato. We need to bring everything to get the sauce made. Any other question?
We have a question in German, which I translated, and it's from Kurt in the Q&A. Hello, do you use 2 headphones tomorrow? And can you prepare? Thanks.
You can use 2 headphones, but in a specific way. Those of you who took your Obiso headphones, for those of you, I've explained this before, the Obisos which many people ordered and paid for were given to the knowledge seekers, most of them, or sent to knowledge seekers during the London conference. So Obisos are actually now out, and we started teaching of how to use it, a tutorial from there, Sunday the 3rd of December, and then we publish with their permission a list of people who have bought this system, that are now, what you call it, are license holders, and you can go to them, you can travel to them to use it. It cannot be done with it. This is a new dimension into totality of the process, where you connect with these headphones the soul of the man to the physicality of it. The system you have, the headphones, 2 headphones with the Apple, is connected to a different system. The Obisos is connected to a different system. And one is like in the soul and one is the soul of physicality. And those of you who have the 2 systems, like the people who are the licenses, about 8-10 of you, you use a combination of the both, and you feel the fields emotionally more than physically. Those of you who don't have it, you can use 2 headphones or 2 mobiles with 2, or 1 mobile with 2 splitters on it, that you put one in your head and you put the other one on each hand, back of each hand, just try to tape it. And make sure the left and the right with your head is in the right position. Where you put the left of left microphone, or the one with the what do you call it, the microphone on it in the back, you have to put it, when you put the handset, on the other hand, because your left brain controls your right hand, if you understand it. This will allow the soul of physicality and energy from inside to direct in the right way, because we have controls inside which will control this. So you have one headphone on in your ears, and the other headphone, for example, you put on the right side the, what do you call it, the one without the microphone, and you put the left side on the back of the left hand. You just put a tape on it and you can stick the headphone. This way you create a right flow. And then it gives you the more possibilities of feeling the force and the fields we create. You can use 2 headphones. Tomorrow's test for many of you will be life-changing. For many of you will be, you really feel the inner strength, the inner field of yourself. And how this will change. Not necessarily you will see the light, you feel the enlightenment. And this will go on to understand how to let this enlightenment go. This comes with the birth of Mitra on the 21st, 22nd session. And you will understand how to, when you receive this light, how to let it overflow. how to fall in love with the Creator and not with His creation. And then we go through the next process. These are part of the structure, as part of the teaching we're taking forward. It looks hodgepodge to a lot of you who don't understand it, but those of you who go through it, and then your children and next generation will go through this training. There is no other choice. All these recordings, all these teachings will become the part of the education of the children in the time to come. That from first year in a school, they understand the control of the soul, they understand the control of the fields they have, they understand there is no punishment corner because they all will talk good, live good, and act good and respect each other. The teaching of being correct will come from the onset of the teaching in the house, in the schools. And all this, what we do now, and the process we set up, and the system we set up, will be replicated to that point. So, you're the first, what I call, students, but all this will become as part of the structure of teaching of the future. Don't forget, we are teaching you today here. We are working with the governments, setting up the space cities. We are setting up structures for what we call human disarmament from arms. We are working with governments to show the benefit of the new technology, and next step and next step. And it looks very calm, but a lot of things are happening together in the background. And in time will come. You know, they used to call them the disciples. You're not disciples. You're those who dissipate the knowledge through soul once you learn it, as knowledge seekers. Always the students become teachers. And if you teach well enough, your students will become good teachers. And we are teaching our students well to understand. Any other question?
From Gerhard again in the Q&A, can we also use the nano-coated mirrors in our hands to get a better flow?
No, not for tomorrow.
That was a big no.
Because those are not created for, this is for man, for himself. These sessions are for man to realize without any outside influence. And these nano discs are for a different purpose. You can use it, see what you get. Especially those of you who had the one with the holes in. Those will be used very soon. We explain to you how to do it. There is a, what do you call it, new developments and new structures which are coming into operation. All of those of you who ordered the Cosmic Ray pack should start receiving it in the next few days, and because they're just coming to completion of production. And then you will be able to communicate inside. You're not connected to the mainframe or to anything else. They are separated in the structure outside, that you can communicate within with those who have other systems, and you will understand how the communication will be done. You cannot use it in conjunction with the OBSOs or the other ones. They are made only for communication. Then the energy to produce for interaction. And they are set up totally different than what they call the health units and the other units we provide. You got to understand the knowledge and the technology within Keshe Foundation is so advanced. It's very much like we cannot use Orange satellite system and facilities on Apple, or Samsung's on Apple, we control the Samsung and we control the Apple, and we don't let the two to mix. The two different technologies. And it's very much like Androids, but we control all aspects of it. You cannot mix it. Even those who purchased the, what we call, license for the visas, they cannot just go into the system because their unit is kept outside. When it's specified for what disease they want to use with Dr. Kern, it'll be moved in position, then we'll moved outside. And it's well controlled. We are building a structure that we have the freedom of the knowledge, but we have control of the knowledge too. Any other question?
Searching. There's one more question in the YouTube from ABC Plasmy. Which GANs is stronger, bones in caustic hot water or burnt bones?
What?
Which GANs is stronger, bones in caustic and hot water or burnt bones? I guess they're talking about making calcium GANs, perhaps?
What are you talking?
You mentioned, I think, at one point using chicken bones or cuttlefish, I think it was.
Yeah, that was for easy to get. That before, what do you call it? It was easy and fast conversion that was done for.
So which would be stronger
It's all
GANs
the same,
then?
depends what you need, what you want to do with. We are, as we're talking, our team are wrapping the Ubisos and everything and leaving Austria very soon. They'll go hopefully to the exhibition in London. And the end of an era, an end of closure of our work in Austria has started. And it'll be what I call beginning of another structure. Our work in Austria has come to an end, and will come to an end in what I call step by step, as vessels, which is a symbol of the new technology, are getting packed and wrapped and about to leave. And as we always share a lot of things with you, you saw when they came into Austria, and now you witness their departure. A new era for Keshe Foundation, and we had to close our operation. Inside this black wrapping is one of the most advanced technologies man ever known, leaving Austria with Keshe Foundation. Any other question?
You have completed our questions for today, Mr. Keshe. Congratulations.
Again, that's good. We're getting, I think now for people it's hard to understand how the emotion of how themselves and how the process of emotion has been the dictator of the whole process. And always we're hoping somebody will make a maggraph, somebody will come in system. Now they find out they're in the system themselves, and this is a shock to them. The transmutation of light tomorrow is next step in teaching, and then 21st, 22nd is the next step of teaching. Now I created, I can receive. Now I created, I can give. And I'm open to give, and that giving brings me a new meaning to loving. There's a lot of you, if you go through, understand it, and in a way that understand, get enlightened. In the 21st, 22nd session, in Birth of Mitra, what we call the Night of Yalda, you will learn and you will touch with when I said, when you love loving, then that will come out in a very, very very strange feeling for many of you.
We have a hand up with Azar, and we can allow her to go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning, everyone. One thing, I had a discussion last night with Hassan. One thing I was trying to figure out is, we talk about this planet is a nursery that we come and we kind of get wisdom, if we get wisdom. And we leave and we create another planetary or galaxy someplace with that wisdom. We are a seed that we become a seedling and we live. So if that's the case, the defect of the planet probably is part of the plan, because if there was no defect, then there wouldn't be any killing and hate, all that. So if there is no hate, how could I understand love? How could I become wise? Because if from the point of inception,
can I come in, Azar? Can I come
sure.
in? Do you need to cut yourself to know what the pain is? Or if you have blood? Did the man have to go through coming to understand to kill and not to kill if it was a perfection?
No. Okay.
So where are we going?
So how does the wisdom come? I mean, if everything was loving, how do you get the wisdom? You always said there is a pain. When you said there is a pain,
there is a wrong philosophy, and I call it partially. It's like Chinese proverb. I've said that many times. It says, "Suffering makes you wise, wisdom makes you rich." What about if we change it to joy? Happiness brings you wisdom. Wisdom of love, wisdom of understanding the creation. We've been brainwashed to accept this.
But
we have never been.
You said it to us. We didn't say it to you. You said pain brings wisdom. So we are
yes, because this is the way you understand as a man. You don't understand the joy what it'll bring. When we fall in love, we suffer, we crave for the love, we do everything to get the love, and when we get it, what happens?
It brings us joy.
Yes, but then we cannot hold on to it because something happens to the love. The love falls in love with another love, and then you lost the love. Or you get old and dies, you lost the love, or whatever. So it's for us to understand. This is why we're going processing to the next step. That there's more joy, there's more wisdom in loving, in giving, than actually suffering to get it. When you love your child, then he loves you back, you give more back. Do you let your child to suffer for it to appreciate that you love her more than next time you beat her up and you want more love, you come back? This is where everything has gone wrong. I always said is in the proverb of Chinese. Now you learn the power of universe.
Okay, I'm going to
The
go with the
language
power
of
of universe then. So that's better.
It's not better, it's the reality. This is what you understood now, you matured, you understand the next level of it.
Thank you.
How can you tell people when you don't have, when they're not ready, when they're not enlightened to go to the next step? Now they're ready, now we're going into that phase. And it's not that all will go together, it's always been gradual. 1, 2, 50, 100, 1,000. As I said many times. Keshe Foundation in October, September of 2004, 2005 was 1 man. Then became 2. And then became 3. And then today, as we see it. And now it will be the same. We started soul teaching. Many of you come into this teaching, many of you come into the sessions, and then you start understanding. And then if you love a man, most probably by next month, you will love loving the man you're with. Not just love the man. If you're enlightened to understand the soul of the man, and the soul is what's there, it's not a physical commitment, it's a life commitment to the soul. Then you understand, if I'm wasting my time with this man, or it's time to, what I call, flow the love, to let it go and bring more in. I have said, and I know the ladies are listeners of the knowledge seekers in these programs, she always listens. Years ago, when we used to run the Keshe Foundation in Belgium, there was a lady who was everywhere. Even she kept on coming back as in a claim that I'm sick, is this, is that. I said one day to her, can you tell me what is wrong? There is nothing wrong with you. She said, I'm in love with you, Mr. Keshe. I said, this is a false love. What's the reason that you are always here? She said, I have a problem with my husband. I said, what is the problem? She said, I have a problem with my daughter. I said, so what is the problem? He said, I love my man beyond imagination. Since my daughter born, he's so much in love with my daughter that he's forgotten me. And I'm searching for that love. And I have become his biggest enemy, and I become an enemy of my child. Because I'm looking for love. I said, the problem is you, not them. You should be proud that you created that daughter, that the man you loved loves her so much. In a way, you have to love him so much that he loves what you love so much more than you, puts everything in it. She started crying. She said, I never understood. I said, go and love the man who loves so much what you created to love. Never saw her again. She wrote a message years later. You're a true master. I found that life has never been so beautiful as you said. It was me who was causing the pain because I could not accept. I wanted all for me. It's us who has to understand. And does not have to come through pain. is much sweeter to love. Thank you very much for today. As Rick said, we answered all the questions. I hope if there is no more. See some of you tomorrow in the session of the light, and try to come to be mature in soul. Don't come to understand. Don't come to see the light. Come to be enlightened with the love of the Creator, which is you. Thank you very much, and see you some tomorrow and some next week.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for another Knowledge Seekers workshop here, number 513, on Thursday, November 23rd, 2023.
Sorry, Rick, I just received a message. It says, can we still sign in for tomorrow's session? Yes, we close the session entry tonight or tomorrow morning, so yes, you still can join in. But for the, what do you call, December with Mitra, please complete, because I would like to create a condition to choose who and how you place this, that it brings the next step for us. And I'll explain that when it comes in the Christmas week and New Year, what we've done in that, what do you call it, session. Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next public teaching workshop for the Keshe Foundation is the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace and Justice, coming up on Tuesday, November 28th. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Time with members of the Universal Council who will be presenting that show. So folks of all kinds are welcome. And it's a good place to connect with the soul and to wish for peace. Okay, I think that's it for our announcements. Thank you again, Mr. Keshe, for being here for so many workshops and continuing to teach. And thank you, everybody, for attending and being part of the reception of those teachings and interaction. We're all knowledge seekers, so thank you for being here. Okay, we'll go out with our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit music version, and may you all have a good day. Bye for now.